Hello there, welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. My name is Shadow C and today I'm going to do a quick demonstrations on hopper clocks. Now hopper clocks are a very useful Minecraft contraction. I forget how to make them all the time. So I thought that I was going to make a quick demonstration on how to build them, but also explain all the way the principles behind its workings so that you never forget how to build them again. Alright, so on to the task. So the first thing you need to do for a hopper clock is to place two hopper clocks going into each other. So you're gonna place the first one like that, then you shift click one into that one, and then you remove this one and shift click the other one into the first one or the second one, whatever. So what you want to have is two hopper going into each other. Now if you put an item into one of the hoppers, what you are going to see is that we already have a clock. That is pretty cool, huh? So you can actually get a signal out of these hoppers and get a pretty easy clock that goes back and forth, back and forth. The only problem with this is that if I put a stack of items, let's say I want to do the cycle longer, this is no longer working. The problem is that one of the hoppers has one item almost all the time and the other hopper goes between 63 and 64. So you don't have a cycle anymore. Now the way you can overcome this is to place one block. For example, let's see a block of redstone so that we can disable one of the hoppers. Now I shift click right here. And now what I'm doing, I'm disabled this hopper from delivering items. So you can see that it's actually getting the items right here. And this hopper is sending the items into the other hopper. So you're going to effectively have a cycle right here. There's a stack of items. It's going to last about, I don't know, 30 seconds. I didn't do the math. I mean, you can go to the wiki and find out. Okay, so the transfer rate is 2.5 items per second with no lag. And so with a stack of items, you're going to have a clock cycle of about 25.6 seconds. So what you'll be able to see here is that I have transferred all of the items from this hopper into this one, and this hopper is of course not delivering the items back because I have this piece of redstone block right here. So how do you solve this thing? Well, the way to do that is to try to come up with a mechanism so that you can use sticky pistons, and I'm going to explain later why you need sticky pistons, so that you can move this block back and forth once this cycle is off. And the way you do that is by adding comparators to each one of these hoppers. So as you can see, this comparator is measuring the amount of items that this hopper has, so it has a signal, and this comparator is off. So by putting a block here with, and this is a very interesting mechanism. So you put a block here with some redstone right here, and then sticky piston, I'm shift clicking right here. So as you can see, this sticky piston went into action and the clock is going back. And then I put the other sticky piston right here. So when this clock is unpowered, this sticky piston is going to retract and so pull the block right here into the first or the second hopper, depending on the angle in which you're looking at it, of course. So why sticky pistons, you might ask? Well, so I think that the reason being is that the first piston that is going to react is this one right here, but it's not going to be able to do anything. You see that in action right there. So it tried to extend, but it couldn't. Then this one retracts and pulls the block. Once it pulls the block with it, because it's sticky piston, this one is going to be able to extend, and so this is going to go back and forth, pulling the block instead of pushing it. If you try to use normal pistons, this is not going to work. So to get a signal out of this clock, you can do it in two ways. For example, I can create a redstone line from here and then put a light, and this is going to be, sorry, right here. This is going to be a clock that is going to have an on and off state. It's going to act like a lever. So when this block goes into the other side, you're going to get an output of the clock right there. And then the light is going to stay on all the time right here until the cycle goes to the other side again, and the light is going to be off for 25.6 seconds. Now the other way you can utilize this clock, and I think in my opinion is the most useful for some applications, is use an observer. Now the observer is going to detect, and the observer can be directly attached to the redstone block, by the way. So the observer is going to detect changes to the state of this redstone dust in this case. So it's going to emit a pulse every 25.6 seconds in this case, because I have a stack of items. And by the way, you can use the 5 slots of the hopper and you know, times 5 is going to be like 2.5 minutes. So this clock is highly configurable, you know, depending on your needs, and that's why it's so useful. Now you had just saw the clock going back, and even though this redstone is on all the time, this observer, what it did effectively is detect the signal from here and just light up, emit one pulse, and then goes off. And then when this goes, you know, back to the other side again, and there you have it. Now the light just emitted one and only one other pulse, even though the clock is in its off state. So you have to bear this in mind if you're going to use an observer. It's going to fire 2 pulses, you know, one for each of the clock cycles. Now for the last part of this tutorial, you might wanna, you know, wonder yourself, what if I want to turn this clock off and on with a lever? Well, that is fairly simple thing. It's a simple thing to do. So by using 2 redstone torches right here, I'm powering both of the hoppers at the same time, and as you can see here, the clock is frozen. No items are going into one or the other, so this is in a frozen state. You know, no matter if it's on or off, it's going to be frozen. And that is a really cool thing if you're using an observer to create a pulse. The clock is not going to emit any pulse during its frozen state right here. Now the only thing you gotta do here is put 2 pieces of redstone, then get a lever, and there you have it. This is it, on and off, you know, switch for the clock. You can turn this lever on, shut the torches off, and now the clock is ticking again and it's working. And then you can pull the lever off, these torches are on, and the clock is frozen. So there you go. This is a really fast tutorial on hopper clocks, but explaining all of the principles surrounding, you know, its functionality. You can see that in action. It's really cool. Anyways, guys, I hope you like this tutorial. If you do, leave a like, comment, or subscribe to my channel for some more tutorials. Check my survival series. I'm building some really cool stuff over there. I have a really cool building there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that in survival, but very similar things are coming. Maybe, you know, in the way of castles. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you like this, and see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.